Yeah. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Sadguru Shrotriya Swami Sri Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on the Viveka Chudamani will continue with the Mangalacharana Shlokas. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. सदाशिवसमारम्भां श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविंदं परमानंदं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम् ओम नमो भगवते विराजेश्वराय हरि ओम. Last time the verse number or the shloka number up to 165 it was covered in the Viveka Chudamani discourse. So today the shloka or the verse number 166 onwards, the discourse based on the commentary given by Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sringeri, Sharada Peetham. Last time, Acharya has elaborately continued the Anatma Nirupana. What is not Atma? What is not Brahma Padartha? What is not Pratyekatma? In other words, he took a detailed analysis of the physical body first, the gross body first, which is called as Annamaya Kosha. Inside this physical body, entirely pervading into all tissues and cells, next you find the Prana Shakti, the vital breath. Now it is called Pranamaya Kosha. And Acharya is telling the disciple, he is explaining now the Pranamaya Kosha or this importance of the vital breath, and says even this is not Atman, it is also Anatman, since it is a Jada. By itself it is inert. Jada means inert. So to complete that, now he finishes up this with the next shloka, 166. Naivatma pi pranamayo vayu vikaro ganta ganta vayu vayuvat antarbahirveshah yasmat kinchitvapi navetti ishtamanishtam swam vanyam va kinchana nityam paratantraha. Naivatma pi pranamayo vayu vikaro ganta ganta vayuvat antarbahireshah yasmat kinchit क्वापि न वेत्ति इष्टमनिष्टं स्वं वान्यं वा किंचन नित्यं परतंत्रः. Same thing, Acharya continues here. See, this Vayu Vikara called Prana, also called Pranamaya Kosha, nothing but it is a modification of the air or the wind what we breathe in and breathe out every day during respiration. During respiration, air enters and then it goes out. The same thing gets converted into Prana Shakti inside the body, traversing the entire, all the tissues. So this Prana Shakti or this Pranamaya Kosha, it is itself inert by its own nature. It enters and goes out. Vayuvat antarbahireshah, just like the wind, the air comes in and goes out. Just like the wind or the air, the prana comes in and comes out, goes out. Yasmat kinchit kwapina vetti ishtam anishtam. Na vetti ishtam anishtam. Now it doesn't recognize what is beneficial to it, what is not beneficial. It doesn't discriminate what is good and evil by itself. It is not aware of itself and it is dependent. Swam va anyam va kinchana na vetti, understood. It neither identifies itself nor it identifies any other substance in the body. Its function is only prana sanchara. As a vital breath, it provides the energy to the body tissues. It is dependent on the body. It is not independent. It is totally inert jada. ದೇಹದ ಒಳಗೆ ಗಾಳಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಉಸಿರಾಟದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಣಶಕ್ತಿ ಸಂಚಾರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ವಸ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅನಿಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಿಯ ಅಪ್ರಿಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಪರತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಅಧೀನವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಾಣಮಯ ಕೋಶ as it is called cannot be Atman. So this cannot be Atman since it is not independent. It is a transformation of the air. So next, Acharya, now the most important aspect, he comes to Manomaya Kosha. Now, this Manomaya Kosha basically refers to our mind. ವೇದಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಮನೋಮಯ ಕೋಶ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರಿದೆ. ದಿ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಮನೋಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ಅಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಅ ಡೀಪರ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ we must always remember in Vedanta where the word mind or manas is used as a singular term, it also means it includes the chitta also. It also means it includes the ego also, that is aham. So generally, please bear in the mind. Here in Viveka Chudamani, Acharya is talking about Manomaya Kosha, means here it is understood this manas, manaha, this mind, here what he is referring to also means chitta, the deeper aspect, subconscious part of the mind called chitta. It also means ego, aham, individuality, your own personality, your individual status, ahankara. So please have this point in the mind. Here, Manomaya Kosha means it includes ahankara, it includes a chitta also. And as repeatedly told in the Vedanta and also elsewhere in the Prakarana Granthas, and also in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, please remember the most important, powerful component of Antakarana is mind. Mind, most potent component of Antakarana, internal component of the body. So, when we say body, generally it means body-mind complex. That these are the words used in Vedanta. In English literature, these words are used together. When we say body, body means body-mind complex. Because mind is the most powerful, subtlest subtlest internal organ, or it can be called as Indriya, as in Bhagavad Gita. It is referred as the subtlest, most potent, most important Indriya inside the body. There are 5 Jnanendriyas we know very well. The eyes, the nose, the ears, the tongue, and the skin, the 5 Jnanendriyas, organs of perception, sense organs. The mind is called the 6th most powerful internal Jnanendriya. Sometimes. So mind is very, very, very important. Generally, one point we should remember in the beginning only, you will understand the shlokas very correctly. At the highest level, ultimately, the point to remember is from birth till the death, the mind rules our body. We, as we call ourselves, identify ourselves, me, myself, is always subjugated by my own mind. I am the slave of my own mind. My mind is the supreme authority. Because of the mental points, the desires emanating like the waves of the ocean, the mind gives the order and our body performs all the functions. Mind is the most powerful thing. Please remember that. Jnanendriyani cha manascha manomaya syat kosho mamaham iti vastu vikalpa hetuhu sanyadi bheda kalana kalito baliyan tat purva kosham abhipurya vijrambhate yaha. Jnanendriyani cha manascha manomaya syat kosho mamaham iti vastu vikalpa hetuhu sanyadi bheda karana kalito baliyan tat purva kosham abhipurya vijrambhate yaha. So Acharya says here, defines that Jnanendriyani cha manascha manomayah koshasya. Look, dear disciple, the 5 sense organs, Jnanendriyas, plus the manas, they form the manomaya kosha. They are together called manomaya kosha. The 5 sense organs receive sense impulses, stimuli from the world, surrounding world, and the mind is behind all the 5 sense organs, processes the information and acts accordingly, gives direction to the body accordingly to the organs of the function, karmendriyas. So this mind is basically responsible for the basic cause of me and mine, I and mine. Mamaham iti vastu vikalpa hetuhu. Mama plus aham iti vastu vikalpa hetuhu. ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು ನಾನು ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ನದು ಎಂಬ ಅಭಿಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊನೆಯ ಕ್ಷಣ ಉಸಿರು ಇರುವ ತನಕ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಅಭಿಮಾನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಾರಣ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನದು. ಸೊ ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೀ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೈನ್ ಈಸ್ virtually in effect generated by my own mind. Me and mine concept, root cause for samsara, root cause for attachment. Me means I, sense of I, ego, ahankar. Mine means mamakara. Only these people are mine. Only my family members are mine. Only my kids and kins are mine. Only my closest blood relatives are mine. Others are not mine. Others are others only. They cannot be mine. So the mind perfectly puts a Lakshmana Rekha, whom to consider as your own kith and kins, whom not to. So that is me and mine concept. Ahankara plus mamakara. This is generated by the mind itself. Sanyadi Veda Kalana Kalito Baliyan Tatpurvakosham Abhipurya Vijrambate. So this mind pervades the entire your body. It pervades your prana shakti also. It pervades your gross body also. It is there everywhere throughout the body as the most potent internal organ. So it manifests itself and pervades the whole body. In science, of course, modern science, there are so much of tons of literature on definition of mind, origin of mind, presence of mind, where exactly we can locate the mind. Is it in the heart? Is it in the brain? Etc. etc. But Vedanta is very clear. Vedanta is so clear that the mind as the subtlest internal organ or the component or the indriya, it pervades the whole body from the tip of the toe to the hairs on the head. Throughout the body, the mind pervades. It means Vedanta is so clear, the mind, most invisible, most subtlest, powerful part of the component of the internal component, it is present in every cell as a root authority, as a master. Every cell is subjected or subjugated by the mind. Mind is a commander. So it is pervading everywhere. So it is called Sukshmati Sukshma Indriya. ಸೊ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹರಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ನನ್ನದು ಅನ್ನೋ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾಗಿರೋದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು. ನಾನು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಅಹಂಕಾರ, ಇವರು ಮಾತ್ರ ನನ್ನವರು, ಬೇರೆಯವರು ನನ್ನವರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಮಕಾರ. ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಮಮಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಕಾರಣ. Then Acharya continues, Panchendriyaihi panchavireva hotruvihi प्रचीयमानो विषयाज्यधारया याज्वल्यमानो बहुवासनेन्धनैः मनोमयाग्निर्दहति प्रपञ्चम् पञ्चेन्द्रियैः पञ्चभिरेव होतृभिः प्रचीयमानो विषयाज्यधारया याज्वल्यमानो बहुवासनेन्धनैः मनोमयाग्निर्दहति प्रपञ्चम्. In this verse, the final line, how beautifully Acharya puts up the greatest truth in the simplest way. The greatest truth in Vedanta in the simplest way. Mano mayagnihi dahati prapancham. Manomaya agnihi prapancham dahati. ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಹವನ್ನ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಆವರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನ ಆವರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ವಿಜೃಂಭಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಮನೋಮಯ ಕೋಶ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಧಗಧಗನೆ ಉರಿಯುತ್ತಿದೆ, ಧಗಧಗನೆ ದಹಿಸುತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ರೂ ಬೇಕು ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತು. ಈ ಮನೋಮಯ ಕೋಶ ಅಗ್ನಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಎಂದೂ ಆರದ ಬೆಂಕಿಯ ತರ ಉರಿತಾ ಇದೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ, ದೇಹದ ಒಳಗೆ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚವನ್ನೇ ಆವರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ Acharya is taking the examples of the yajna. You know, in those days yajnas and homas are so common. They were so common, conducted every day. So he takes the example of a homa, a sacrifice, a fire sacrifice, and then explains with that example as a metaphor the mind, the concept of mind. See, normally there are 5 purohits, acharyas, who conduct the homa. They are called advaryu or hotru in Sanskritam. Advaryu or hotru. For the sake of the yajmana, the person who conducts, who pays the money and other things, supplies the material, for his well-being, the 5 acharyas or purohits conduct the homa. And they offer the fuel for the fire to generate and then burn constantly. And they offer other materials like ghee, clarified butter, and other things to the yajnakunda, sacrificial fire, so that the fire keeps on burning. So that example Acharya is taking here. What is that example? Panchendriyaihi panchavireva bhotrubhihi prachiyamano vishayajyadharaya. So in this sacrificial fire, in the Agni, the fire of the Homakunda, the 5 acharyas performing the Homa or the Panchendriya, the 5 Jnanendriyas. Our 5 Jnanendriyas are the 5 acharyas. They are the performing the Homa here. Vishayajyadharaya. So they are pouring the butter called sense objects. The 5 sensory organs perceive the sense objects in the world. So the 5 sensory organs in the form of acharyas are adding the butter called sense objects to the fire, to the Agni, which can further generate and expand and burn continuously. Jajwalyamano bahuvasanindhanaihi. They are adding the fuel. The dry wood is the fuel added normally to the homa. Here, which is the fuel? Our vasanas, our own tendencies are being added as a fuel. With that, the mind called Manomaya Kosha is continuously burning in our life till the last breath, till the death. The mind is always activated. It is burning here means always activated by the desires, by the sankalpas, by the vasanas, and with the help of sense objects available to enjoy, to have the pleasure of possessing the objects. The mind is always geared up. So, mind like a fire with unsatiable hunger. Anything you add, it burns out. So, the desires are the fuel. The vasanas are the fuel. The more the desire you fulfill, the new desires and new wants will always arise in the mind. That is the point. The basic point is mind is a powerful internal organ which is full of desires and sankalpa and vasanas. This mind is full of vasana, desires, sankalpa. Nahi astya vidya manasotirikta mano hi avidya bhavabandha hetuhu tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam vijrambite asmin sakalam vijrambate. Nahi astya vidya manasotirikta mano hi avidya bhavabandha hetuhu tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam vijrambite asmin sakalam vijrambate. Very straight point Acharya is making in this shloka here. What is the straight point? Manasaha atirikta avidya nahi asti. Manassanna bitre bere avidya, ajnana, bandhana ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಬಂಧನ, ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ, ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ. So there is nothing else apart from the mind called avidya or ajnana or ignorance. Acharya is making it very clear for us to understand. Nahi asti avidya manaso atirikta mano hi avidya bhavabandha hetuhu. Mano hi manaha hi avidya bhavabandha hetuhu. This mind itself, he stresses on this point. Mind itself is avidya, ajnana, ignorance. What is the ignorance here? I am the body, concept. For this ignorance, mind itself is responsible. It is responsible for the samsara to continue. It is responsible for bhavabandha hetuhu. It is a cause for the samsara to continue, means I am born and I will die, again I am reborn, again I will die. So this cycle I am caught up all the time. Who is responsible for this samsara? For this bondage, who is responsible? Acharya is making very clear with simple terms. Look, your own mind is responsible for your bondage. This mind itself is responsible. Because in the next two lines is very clear. Tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam. If this mind is destroyed, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು ನಾಶವಾದರೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚವೇ ನಾಶವಾದ ಹಾಗೆ, ಸಂಸಾರವೇ ನಾಶ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಜ್ಞಾನೋತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮನಸ್ಸು ನಾಶವಾದಾಗ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ತಸ್ಮಿನ್ ವಿನಷ್ಟೇ ಸಕಲಂ ವಿನಷ್ಟಂ. If this mind is lost, if it is destroyed, the samsara is destroyed. The bhavabandha is destroyed. The bandhana is destroyed. Vijrambate asmin sakalam vijrambate. If it is not destroyed, if it is present all the time, then samsara will continue. You expand yourself, you revel yourself in the seeking happiness and pleasure in the samsara. All the time you are floating, drowning, and then traversing, and then swimming in this ocean of samsara, always with all the more and more desires to find happiness, to find pleasure, to find ultimate happiness. And with a logical thinking that ultimately money will provide me that happiness. So you are wandering in the mirage. That is what he calls. Asmin vijrambate, sakalam vijrambate. If this mind is not dissolved, what happens? Then everything expands. Your life, your samsara, everything expands. And you remain in the samsara, completely caught up, completely submerged. That means you are eternally bound. You are in a thicker bondage. ಮನಸ್ಸು ಇರುವವರೆಗೆ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನ ತಪ್ಪಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ವೇದಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿವೇಕ್ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಯೋಚನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಮಮಕಾರ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಸಹನೆ, ತಳವಳ, ಉದ್ವೇಗ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋಕ, ಮೋಹ, ದುಃಖ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸುಖವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ದುಃಖವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾದ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಅರಿವಿಲ್ಲವಲ್ಲ. Acharya has given long back this example. In deep sleep, sushupti as it is called, what happens? In the deep sleep every day, we forget ourselves. We forget our identity. Totally identity is lost. Neither there is happiness, nor there is sorrow, there is grief, anything of that sort. You don't identify yourself with the body, your name and status, fame, everything. You don't identify with your kids and kins. You don't know. You have forgotten. Totally, you are away from the concept of mind in deep sleep. There is no father, mother, brother, sister, wife, children, grandchildren, friends and foes, colleagues, nothing of that sort. Because your own status itself is lost. Your own identity is lost. Me and mine, both are lost. Me and mine concept, both are lost. They are not there. So that is in deep sleep. Because the mind temporarily, it has joined itself, merged itself with the Atma, with the self in the deep sleep. ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅಂತಃಕರಣ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಲಯವಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ತಾತ್ಕಾಲಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾಶವಾಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಲಯವಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. Temporarily the mind has dissolved itself into the Atma, into the self. The mind is not active. So you are very peaceful. That is your real nature. Your constant nature is that bliss. That bliss cannot be explained. You cannot explain what you are doing in deep sleep. Nobody can explain. All that we say after we come out of the sleep mode, how nicely we had slept, how beautifully we had slept. We had a wonderful sleep. I was at peace. That's all the words we can say. But you cannot explain what is the deep sleep state. That is the what you call as a trailer forerunner of the supreme bliss, because mind is not there. It has dissolved temporarily. It has gone out temporarily. Once we wake up, mind becomes activated. It becomes active. So again we come back to our senses. Me and mine concept, Maya will catch you, and then we are bound to the samsara. See, this is the simple thing. Swapnertha shunye srujati swashaktya bhoktradi vishvam mana eva sarvam tathaiva jagratyapi no vishesha tat sarvametan manaso vijrambanam. Swapnertha shunye srujati swashaktya bhoktradi vishvam mana eva sarvam tathaiva jagratyapi no vishesha tat sarvametan manaso vijrambanam. Here in this shloka, Acharya says, during the dream state, the mind creates the dream world. It is so powerful. When you are dreaming, you are seeing so many things in your presence. So many events are happening in the dream every day, or at least for majority people, they remember the dream next day. Some may forget. So many things are there, dream sequences. Mind is creating that. The mind is creating the entire dream sequence. ಸ್ವಪ್ನ ಶರೀರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕನಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಬರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸ್ವಪ್ನ ಶರೀರ ದೃಶ್ಯಗಳು ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಕನಸು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ದು ಸುಳ್ಳು. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಜಾಗೃತಾವಸ್ಥೆನಲ್ಲೂ ಮನಸ್ಸು ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ. So just like in the dream, what is happening, which appears to be false, when you wake up after the dream sequence, you say it is false. Oh, I saw a dream. It is not true at all. Similarly, look, my dear disciple, Acharya says here, even this Jagrata Avastha, the waking state, what you are seeing, the world, me and mine, my own people, my own kids and kins, I am so and so, I have a name and a status and a forum, others have a name and a status and forum, only some are mine, others are not mine, the world is against me. See, these feelings, they are also created by your own mind. Look at like that. Your own mind is responsible for this. Feelings, your behavior, attitude, karmas, your actions in the world are all guided by your own mental force. So the waking state also in the real sense is a dream-like state. Remember like that. Here is hinting here. Tathaiva jagratyapi no visheshaha tat sarvam etat manaso vijrambanam. Jagrata avastha also no vishesha. There is nothing special about this waking world. It is just like the dream world only. That is what he says. It is all due to the mind. You see the world and you react to the worldly things. You always live your life with so much of expectation, so much of wants and so much of sankalpa, so much of desire and desire and desire. Never feeling contented with what we have. Never we say it is enough. Mind always gears you up to do something more. Something more. Mind will not allow you to keep quiet. So the more the mind, it propels the Rajoguna to do things. It also propels the Tamoguna to be lazy and, totally inert. Not at all bothered about anything, only except yourself. Tamoguna also means you becoming totally selfish, lazy, and totally ajnani. So the mind propels in these two directions. Rajoguna and Tamoguna are propelled by the mind itself. Sattva-guna, mind will not propel. To do good things, mind will not allow. To develop good qualities, sattva qualities, mind will not allow. See, that is the speciality of the mind. Then Acharya continues, Sushupti kale manasi praline naivasti kinchat sakala prasiddhe ato manah kalpita eva pumsaha samsara etasya na vastutopi. Sushupti kale manasi praline नैवास्ति किंचित सकल प्रसिद्धे अतो मनः कल्पित एव पुंसः संसार एतस्य न वस्तुतोस्ति. As earlier I said, Acharya is continuing here, giving example of deep sleep state. In the deep sleep, what happens? Sushupti, there is nothing, no feeling, no identification. Because mind is dissolved into the Atma itself. Sushuptikale manasi praline na eva asti kinchit sakala prasiddhe. Sakala prasiddhe. Everyone knows by experience. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಸ್ವಂತ ಅನುಭವ ಇದೆ. ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಅನುಭವ ಸಕಲ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧೆ. Everyone knows. Everyone has experienced. In the deep sleep, I don't remember anything. Na eva asti kinchit. There is nothing. Totally big zero. Even I am not there. This is our experience. Everyone's. We cannot explain what I was doing in the deep sleep. But everyone has experienced what deep sleep is. At least we should remember this point. Correct? Is it not so? Everyone knows his non-existence in the deep sleep state. But everyone cannot explain what is that. So the only words we say, we had a wonderful sleep. We had a most beautiful sleep. We had a quiet sleep. We had no disturbances in the sleep. So nicely we slept. These are the words. These are the words to explain that exalted state of deep sleep when the mind is totally stilled. Mind is not destroyed, stilled or temporarily the mind merged with the Atma or the self itself or the inner consciousness. Mind merged with our own Parama Chaitanya residing inside. Atah manakalpete eva pumsaha samsara etasya na vastutosti. So listen, my dear disciple. So for a man, this samsara, this world, phenomenal world, this material world, what we see, what we hear, what we experience by our sense organs, perceive, and then the mind processes it. Mind identifies this world. This is nothing but manokalpita eva, the mental projection. Look, my dear disciple, etasya samsara manokalpita eva. The highest truth Acharya is telling here. The highest truth in the simplest way. This whole samsara is manokalpita eva. It is nothing but creation of the mind. What this entire universe, this manifestation, this samsara, this world, material world, what I am seeing, what I am hearing, what I am listening, what I am observing, what I am touching, what I am smelling, what I am tasting, and what I am thinking. In other words, the entire world is manokalpita. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದುರ್ಗಮವಾದ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಸರಳವಾದ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ, ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಸಂಸಾರವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಮನೋವೃತ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮನೋವ್ಯಾಪಾರದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕನಸು ಕಣಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. I remember our Gurudev once long back, short phrases he used to use here and there while talking. I remember once he asked a question and then he gave the answer himself. While explaining some concept of the Upanishad, suddenly he said, "Where do you find samsara?" He said. "Where is the samsara?" He repeated. Then after a few seconds, he said, "The samsara is in your mind." He opened his hand like this and directed to me and said, "The samsara is in your mind." See, these are the words, profound words of a jnani. Acharya is talking the same thing here. Ataha samsaraha manah kalpita eva. Na vastutaha asti. So it is not really present. It is created by our own mind, this entire manifestation. So mind is a real powerful internal organ. And he gives example to explain this. Vayuna aniyate megha punastainaiva niyate manasa kalpyate bandho mokshastenaiva kalpyate. Vayuna aniyate megha punastainaiva niyate manasa kalpyate bandho mokshastenaiva kalpyate. Niyate means dispersion. Aniyate means bringing together. Niyate means dispersing, throwing out. So just like the wind is responsible, the blowing wind is responsible for the clouds either to gather or to expand or go away, disperse. The clouds to gather or disperse, the wind factor is responsible. The blowing wind is responsible. Just like that, the mind is responsible for bondage or liberation for an individual. Mind itself is responsible for bondage or liberation, as the case may be. ಮೋಡಗಳು ಗಾಳಿಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಸೇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಚದುರುತ್ತೆ. ಗಾಳಿ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಬೀಸಿದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಗಾಳಿಯಿಂದ ಮೋಡಗಳು ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಸೇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಅದೇ ಗಾಳಿಯಿಂದ ಮೋಡಗಳು ಚದುರು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಾರಣ, ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಕಾರಣ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. With the example of the wind blowing, either it is helpful for accumulation of the clouds at one place or dispersal of the clouds in the same place. Mind is responsible for either liberation or bondage to continue in this life. That is a beautiful example he is giving. Then he continues, Dehadi sarva vishaye parikalpya ragam badnati tena purusham pashuvad gunena वैरस्यमत्र विषवत् सुविधाय पश्चात् येनं विमोचयति तन्मन एव बन्धात्। देहादि सर्वविषये परिकल्प्य रागं बध्नाति तेन पुरुषं पशुवद्गुणेन। वैरस्यमत्र विषवत् सुविधाय पश्चात् येनं विमोचयति तन्मन एव बन्धात्. Now Acharya says here, by producing attachment, mine, I want this, I want that, I am attracted towards this, the desire. So by producing the attachments, the passions in the body, this mind responsible for the passion, desire, sankalpa, attachment, raga and moha, what happens? It binds the body just like you bind an animal with the help of a rope tightly. Acharya is giving example here. Pashuvad gunena. Gunena means here the rope. Badnati tena purusham pashuvat gunena. Just like the animal is held tightly by a rope, the mind purusham badnati tena. With the help of the desires, passion, raga and moha, the mind totally binds the human body or the human being. ಹಗ್ಗಗಳಿಂದ ಪಶುವನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು ತನ್ನ ರಾಗ ಮೋಹ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ಮನುಷ್ಯನನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. ದೇಹಾದಿ ಸರ್ವ ವಿಷಯೇ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪ್ಯ ರಾಗಂ ಬಧ್ನಾತಿ ತೇನ ಪುರುಷಂ. So the mind is so powerful, it will not allow you to do independent function. It makes you to do things so that it thinks that it is getting some pleasure. In order to get more and more pleasure, since the mind is attached, the mind is under total delusion, mind is full of passion, full of lust, full of greed, full of moha. And extra moha is called vyamoha also. Vishesha moha is called vyamoha. That I must do so many things for my kids and kids. I must procure and procure and procure all the wealth available for the sake of my children, for the sake of my grandchildren, for the sake of my wife or my others. So let me procure, let me get. So this feeling of the unsatiable desire of procuring, obtaining pleasurable things and more, making more and more money, all these such feelings of raga, passion, lust, greed will bind the human body. The mind itself will bind the human body to the world, to the samsara. ಈ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕೋದೇ ಆತನ ಮನಸ್ಸು. ಸೊ the same mind, ವೈರಸ್ಯಮತ್ರ ವಿಷವತ್ ಸುವಿಧಾಯ ಪಶ್ಚಾತ್, ವೈರಸ್ಯಮತ್ ಸುವಿಧಾಯ ವಿಷವತ್ ಪಶ್ಚಾತ್ ಏನಂ ವಿಮೋಚಯತಿ ತನ್ಮನ ಏವ ಬಂಧಾತ್. Luckily in some people, in the case of some exalted human beings who are graced by the Guru Anugraha, what happens? Luckily in some human beings, the same mind which is a culprit will develop dispassion, aversion to pleasurable things. It develops dispassion and aversion to acquire more and more. It develops aversion towards pleasurable things more and more. It develops aversion towards making more and more money. The mind starts saying enough of pleasure, enough of hunting for pleasure, enough of making more and more money, enough of these things in samsara. These things will not lead me to realization. These things will not fetch me the eternal happiness. These things will not make me immortal. So, such feelings, when they are generated by the grace of Lord or the Sadguru, the same mind, the same mind, the same mind will turn towards Vairagya. See the difference what Acharya is talking here. It will, same mind will allow you towards sadhana mode, spiritual mode. So it develops Vairagya. All the time it had this passion, lust, attachment towards life. Suddenly it develops Vairagya. Vairasya means Vairagya, dispassion. Suddenly the mind develops a notion that what is my real purpose of this birth? Why I am born? So it will propel towards sadhana mode. The same mind will turn you towards spiritual sadhana mode, spiritual practices. The mind is safe. See, that's what Acharya is giving. ಯಾವ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವೃತ್ತಿ ಮಾರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಜನ್ಮ ಜನ್ಮಗಳ ಈ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಭಗವತ್ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿ ಪಾರಮಾರ್ಥ ಸುಖವನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯಲು ತನ್ನ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಅದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಾರಣ. ಅದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಾರಣ. ಅದು ಸದ್ಗುರು ಅಥವಾ ಭಗವಂತನ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ this is an important point. Same thing was beautifully narrated. Same thing is said in Bhagavad Gita also. Same thing is said in Bhagavad Gita. In fact, a few shlokas are landmark shlokas, my Gurudev used to tell me. Then he gave me Adesha in 2013 in the year to give discourse on Bhagavad Gita in detail. For in a 1 hour program, hardly 2 shlokas on an average or 3 shlokas were covered because it was in detail, and Gurudev's Adesha was I should do both in Kannada, the vernacular language, and also English. So the difficult task was combining English language and Kannada language, same thing to be said. So it went on for 5.5 years, every Sunday between 4 and 5 p.m., except a few Sundays due to health reasons. For 5.5 years, the Gita discourse went on at Hamsashram by the grace of Gurudev. He used to sit there and listen what is being told. I remember here the famous landmark, some of the landmark shlokas. Here, with reference to this mind, we have to remember what the guidance Lord Krishna Paramatma has already given in Bhagavad Gita. Uddhared atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet. Uddhared atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Second line, you please follow that shloka, Bhagavad Gita. It is in the, I don't have photographic memory, I think it is in the 6th chapter. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha, the second line. Atma eva hi atmana bandhuhu atma eva hi atmana ripuhu. Lord says very clear. Here the word Atma, what he is using there in Bhagavad Gita refers to the mind, not the self. So your own mind is your friend. He says, Atmaiva hi atmana bandhuhu. Atmaiva hi ripuratmanaha. Your own mind is Ripu, means enemy of your own self. Again, small letter SELF, not capital S. So your own mind is your friend, your own mind is your enemy. What does it mean? It means your own mind is responsible for your samsara to continue. You lead a normal life, totally pravritti marga, die one day, again you are reborn, lead a normal life according to your tendencies, samskaras, vasanas, totally immersed me with a me and mine concept, again die and continue, again new birth. So the samsara cycle continues in the pravritti marga. Your own mind is responsible for that. Or by the grace of the Guru or Bhagavan, Bhagavanta, Lord, the same mind will propel you towards a Nivritti Marga, living in the same world, living like any other normal person, without showing any mark on your body or forehead, without giving any inclination to others. You are doing your own silent spiritual sadhana by the grace of the Guru or by the grace of Sadguru, and then you enter into Nivritti Marga, mentally detaching yourself completely, slowly and slowly from the worldly attachments, from the worldly passions. So there is a mental cessation gradually happening by your own sadhana. And the sadhana to continue and culminate, Guru's grace is at most required. When the Guru Krupa falls inside, when it descends inside, what happens? You are in the hands of the Sadguru. So you leave everything to him or to the God, and the Guru or the God will take you to the other side of the bank. So when you shift your responsibility by total surrender with Shraddha, Bhakti and conviction, Guru will guide you. He will guide you how to sadhana should continue, how your japa to continue, how your meditation to continue. All these internal transformation are happening in the mind itself. So the same mind will turn towards the other side with a dispassion, with vairagya and viveka. And then ultimately you fulfill your goal of the life by the grace of the Guru. That's what here Acharya means. That's what Lord meant in Bhagavad Gita. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Your own mind is your enemy, or it can be your friend. Friend in the spiritual sense. Enemy in the normal sense. See, all normal people, they are under the control of the mind, mind control. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಗುಲಾಮರಾದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಜೀವನ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಹೇಗೋ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹುಟ್ಟುತ್ತೇವೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಾಯ್ತೇವೆ. ಆದರೆ ಭಗವತ್ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ, ಪೂರ್ವ ಜನ್ಮದ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರದ ಬಲದಿಂದ, ಸದ್ಗುರು ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಮನಸ್ಸು ವಿವೇಕ ಮತ್ತು ವೈರಾಗ್ಯದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಳಿತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧನೆ ಬಲವಾಗ್ತಾ 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 ಸದ್ಗುರು ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಧಾತು ಪ್ರಸಾದ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಜೀವನದ ದಿಕ್ಕೇ ಬದಲಾಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಪರಮ ಸತ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥವಾದಂತಹ ಮೋಕ್ಷವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಸಾಧನೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇಹಾದಿ ಸರ್ವ ವಿಷಯೇ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪ್ಯ ರಾಗಂ ಬದ್ನಾತಿ ತೇನ ಪುರುಷಂ ಪಶುವದ್ಗುಣೇನ ವೈರಸ್ಯ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಷವತ್ ಸುವಿಧಾಯ ಪಶ್ಚಾತ್ ಏನಂ ವಿಮೋಚಯತಿ ತನ್ಮನ ಏವ ಬಂದ. So next he says, he gives an adesha, Acharya Bhagavad-pada gives an adesha to the disciple. Tasmat manah karanamasya janto bandhasya mokshasya cha va vidhane bandhasya heturmalinam rajo gunaihi mokshasya shuddham virajastamaskam. Tasmat manah karanamasya janto bandhasya mokshasya cha va vidhane. बंधस्य हेतुर्मलिनं रजो गुणैः मोक्षस्य शुद्धं विरजस्तमस्कम्. Acharya says here, tasmat. So therefore, मनः कारणं मस्य जंतो बंधस्य मोक्षस्य च व विधाने. बंधस्य मोक्षस्य च व विधाने. Look, the mind, therefore, look, my dear disciple, the mind itself is responsible for bandhana, attachment, samsara, to continue, bondage, bound to the samsara, or moksha, liberation from samsara. Escaping from the bondage means no more rebirth, no more coming back into the cycle of birth and death. ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಕಾರಣ. ಈ ಜಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾನವ ಜನ್ಮಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಕಾರಣವಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯಾಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬಂಧನ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಗೆ. ಬಂಧಸ್ಯ ಹೇತುರ್ ಮಲಿನಂ ರಜೋಗುಣೈಹಿ. ಈ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಕಾರಣ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಮೋಗುಣದಿಂದ ಸೇರಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮಲಿನವಾದ ರಜೋಗುಣ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ. ಮೋಕ್ಷಸ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧಂ ರಜಸ್ತಮಸ್ಕಂ. ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಜೋಗುಣ ತಮೋ ಗುಣಗಳು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೊರಟು ಹೋಗಿ ಕೇವಲ ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಅದು ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧ ಸತ್ವವಾದಾಗ, ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ಸತ್ವವಾದಾಗ, ಮನಸ್ಸು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಸತ್ವದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದಾಗ ಅದು ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬಾಂಡೇಜ್? Your own two gunas predominantly controlled or present in your mind, the rajoguna and tamoguna. So they are mixed so much in proportion, higher proportion. The sattva is completely covered, sattva-guna is covered, rajoguna, tamoguna is predominant and predominant, propelling you for action. So they are responsible for bandhana, bondage. When the same rajoguna and tamoguna are totally, completely, they are purified, dissolved, they are lost, and only when pure sattva guna projects in your mind, that means when the mind is full of vishuddha sattva guna, when the mind is full of parishuddha sattva guna, when the mind is totally sattvic, in other words, when the mind is totally pure, in other words, when the mind is totally pure by your intense sadhana, by intense devotion, bhakti to the Almighty, and by total karma yoga, doing action without expecting any sort of result. So by combining nishkalanka bhakti, total surrender, total karma yoga, and total dependence on the Sadguru, what happens? The mind becomes purer and purer and purer, devoid of tamoguna, devoid of rajoguna. Only sattva guna will predominate. Then your mind becomes so pure, crystal clear, like a prism. That's what God will see, that who is residing in our own heart. At that moment, He will shower His anugraha, or the grace, and you are liberated while still living in the body. Then you become emancipated. Then the salvation occurs. Then the enlightenment occurs. Then the realization occurs. Then you will automatically, in a flash, by the grace of the Sadguru, you will know you are really that one. Then you will experience in a flash, in a moment, that you are not the body. You are not the Annamaya Kosha. You will experience. You are not the Pranamaya Kosha. You will experience. You are not the Manomaya Kosha. You will experience. You are not Vijnanamaya Kosha. You will experience by yourself. And finally, you are not even Anandamaya Kosha. You are beyond the 5 kosha. You are beyond everything. You are beyond birth and death, rebirth cycle itself. you remain in that state of bliss eternally while still living in the body. Then you become realized or Jivan Mukta as it is called. This is what Acharya is hinting. So with Guru Sankalpa, we are stopping the discourse today with a short Rama Bhajan. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama 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 Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya